This video will review the process to create a Lumen IP VPN on-demand connection to Azure ExpressRoute using private peering. We'll refer to this drawing from time to time to show what it is we're creating. I'm going to use two different browsers. You can use whatever browser you want, but I'm going to use Chrome for our work in the Azure portal, and I'm going to use Firefox for the work we do in the Lumen portal. Again, you can use any browser you want. So the task at hand is create a connection between Azure and a MPLS network, this IP VPN VRF. So this virtual routing and forwarding instance, the VRF, exists within Lumen, and customer premises are connected to that VRF via provider edge connection, the PEs, to IPVPN ports at the customer location. We're showing one, but we would assume there are multiple connections to the VRF, the MPLS network, and this would be a fully meshed network. So multiple ports connected via PEs to the VRF, creating a fully meshed MPLS network. So we're going to add Microsoft. We're going to add Azure to that VRF. And the connection is again going to be from provider edge devices, but instead of going to a port at a customer location, we're going to connect to Microsoft Edge routers at some on-ramp location. The connection between the PEs, and every ExpressRoute has dual connections, so these are built in pairs. We're going to connect using existing NNIs, or network-to-network interfaces, that Lumen and Microsoft have already established between the Lumen Provider Edge and the Microsoft Edge. And the task at hand is to use that existing infrastructure to create the peering between them. So the first thing we need to do is to create an ExpressRoute. So let's go do that. We'll go to Chrome. I'm going to go to ExpressRoute. And I've already got a couple. I'm going to create a new one. In my subscription one, in my resource group of phishing. And I'm going to create a standard resiliency, which is a single ExpressRoute, dual connections between Microsoft and the customer. So I'm going to choose East US. That's fine. We can create them anywhere. Let's call this one Lake Trout. And this is a provider connection. A direct would be a dedicated interface, and you would not be able to do MPLS connections with a direct. So a provider. And when we pick the location, this is the physical location where we want to connect. I'm going to choose Chicago. Atlanta. Once you pick a location, the providers that are available on that location are presented to you. So just for contrast, so we want CenturyLink Cloud Connect is who we're after. That's Lumen. But if I were to pick, say, Washington, D.C., we can see that there's a much more extensive list of providers that provide this connectivity in Washington, D.C. So we'll go back to Atlanta. And we will choose CenturyLink Cloud Connect. And I'm going to make this a 500 meg connection, but you can see here the options with ExpressRoute, 50 meg through 10 gig. So 500 meg, we're going to take a standard SKU. We don't need premium, and metered is much less expensive than unlimited. So we'll review what we've chosen. Azure validates that what we've picked is good, and then we can go ahead and create it. This may take a few minutes. And our deployment is complete. We can go to the resource, which we just created, was lake trout. And we can see that its status here is not provisioned. So Lumen has to provision the connection. And we're creating a Azure private connection, and we'll assign these. Lumen will assign the primary, secondary subnets and a VLAN ID. So now that we have a service key, let's copy it. And I'm going to go to the Lumen portal. In Control Center, I'm going to go to the Services tab, and we see a flyout here for Managed Services, Add Services, etc. We're going to add a service. And I'm going to add an IP VPN on-demand connection. Select my customer ID. It's going to look for available VRFs. Remember, drawing. We're connecting this VRF to these edge routers using that key. So we need to find the right virtual routing and forwarding instance. Account number. You probably would not have a million of them. Just pick this one. We're going to call this lake trout. And I'm just going to pick this lovely VRF. Okay. I'm going to connect so that VRF to cloud provider. I'm going to pick Azure. I'm going to paste that key in here that I copied. Lumen is going to validate that that's a good key, and it's going to tell us where it was created. It knows that it was created for Atlanta, which is what we chose when we created it. Okay. Continue. And now, because that's a 500 meg express route, we have options to create the connection up to 500 meg, but not exceeding. So the available bandwidths 50, 100, 200, and 500. And this is billed monthly. We have the option of using hourly pricing. We're going to go with monthly, and we're going to take the full 500 meg. Continue. Now, because we're peering with the MPLS network, we need to tell Lumen what to advertise out to ExpressRoute. And that's what these options are. Do I want to advertise everything that's in my MPLS network? Do I want to advertise everything except specific subnets? Or do I want to advertise nothing except what I tell you to do? So if I were to pick either of these, I would have to put in the aggregates, the prefixes that I do or don't want advertised. But for today, we're just going to say everything. We're not going to take the default route. And we're going to, and this is the primary because this is the first one we've got to set up. And we'll continue. Summarizes our selections. So these are my accounts. The nickname is Lake Trout. We're connecting to Azure in Atlanta on that VRF, which is called Lovely. Monthly billing, 500 meg. This takes under 10 minutes to complete the connection from this point. It's provisioning. And we'll be presented with a progress bar. And we can see as this progresses through the stages to completion. And this order is complete. Would note you do not need to sit here and watch that process. You can leave that page, come back. Lumen sends you an email when the service is finished. So now we can see the details related. It is an IP VPN connection. We're active as of today. The name is Lake Trout. There's your billing price. It is between this BRF and Azure in Atlanta. And Lumen AS3549 is pairing with Azure AS12076. We've assigned VLAN 2183 and 2/30s, one for each connection. Now, if we go back to the Azure console, we see now that Lake Trout has been provisioned. Provisioned yet. To refresh. There we go. There's our IPs. Back to Azure. So this is ready to go. At this point, we've got our express route provisioned, IPs are assigned. The VLAN ID is at 2183, and we're pairing with 3549. And that is the process to establish the connection between an express route and Lumen MPLS network.